So there has been mounting political hits in the mountain, and this is the analysis on this issue and what Kenyans need to understand about this whole issue and what you need to do. And as a Kenyan, what should be our view of the whole drama between the deputy president and his boss, and what is the political situation in the mountain? Where are we currently? As always, this is Kenyan Opinion TV. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Those watching from TikTok, msisahau kupita pale YouTube, Kenyan Opinion TV, piga hiyo subscription. Don't forget to click that follow button up TikTok and everywhere on all platforms, Kenyan Opinion TV. And let's get going. So, it all started like rumors here and there that Rigathi Gachagua and the President William Samoei Arap Ruto are no longer together, and there were very few activity from both sides. But now it seems, since the last video I made talking about them having bared their knuckles to each other, with people like kina Oscar Sudi and Kimani Ichung'wah, kina Mutahi Kahiga, Kimani Kuria, and all those people being used as cronies to answer each other. But we have also seen scenarios where the president and his deputy have decided to go head on. Come on, mbaya, and they be like, if you're killing it, let's kill each other. We're going for the throat. When the deputy talks about the 1 man, 1 shilling, one vote, and the president is like, we're not going to talk about division, tribalism, regionalism, and all those kinds of rhetorics. We've also seen stories where the deputy is being denied military choppers, people like Oscar Sudi punching him real hard. And Rigathi Gachagua is one hell of a dude, because he's like, you won't war with me, I'm coming back right at your home, and he's punching them right all the way in Eldoret. So Rigathi Gachagua is making some big boss political moves, because he's like, it's seeming like he's taking on his boss full throttle. And William Samoei Ruto is not one to take the hits lying down. He's responding, he's acting, and we've seen stories where Ndindi Nyoro is being propped to probably take the place of Anko Rigiji. But the question really becomes, where should the mountain's heart be? Number one, the mountain is already betrayed by the government of William Samoei Arap Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. So when Rigathi Gachagua now comes to us and starts speaking our language and telling us, oh, I also want the 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote, he should tell us many things. Is it that he is turning on a new leaf? Should we trust him? The mountain. What do you think of this turn of events? My opinion is very simple, and I'm going to articulate it in very few words. Number one, William Samoei Arap Ruto cannot be trusted. He has never been ours, he is never ours, and he will never be ours. So everything he does and he moves is never going to be of any benefit to the people of the mountain. And if it is not benefiting the people of the mountain, it is not benefiting the people of the republic. Some fools think that when I talk about the people of the republic, I am alienating myself from the spirit of nationalism and patriotism. But you cannot unite a country if you cannot unite a region. You cannot unite the whole nation if you cannot unite a tribe. You cannot unite a community if you cannot be able to unite a family unit. So you have to start between a couple. Unity starts from between a couple, then to their children, to the extended family, to the community, to the whole region, a whole tribe, and then it can spiral all the way to the whole nation. But when you cannot talk about unity of these small pieces, then you cannot be, because it is actually, unity is like a whole puzzle. Unity is like a whole puzzle. If you cannot unite one piece with another, with its primary blocks, because in reality nationalism is like a puzzle. So you have to fit each and every piece of the puzzle at its right place. Otherwise, you will either have a wrong unity, just like we saw what had happened in the Russian Federation. It was united, yes, but it was wrongly united. Now it could not hold. That is why it broke to what it is today. So to be able to achieve nationalism, you need to have everything in order. We need to have the Luyas being of the same intention, the people of the mountain, the Luos, the Kalenjins, everybody speaking the same language. So the question really is any of them really interested in unity of the region and the country? A very simple answer is no. So William Samoei Arap Ruto is not ready to unite the nation. Why? Because if the nation were to unite, do you think it will stand behind him or up against him? Currently, with the current state of affairs, do you think if we were to achieve unity, would we speak one voice in support of him or against him? Tell us in the comment sections on all our social media platforms. It doesn't matter where, just comment. Tell us. The other question becomes, does Rigathi Gachagua want that unity? Why would anybody want to be united with Rigathi Gachagua? That is a question those fools like people like Muigai wa Njoroge, who is telling us that now Gachagua is our man, we should give him the mantle of leadership, we should let him take control of the community and manage our affairs. Why? We have no reason. Just because he holds the deputy's office doesn't mean that we can trust him. We must never trust such a man. Any man who betrays his boss, any man who betrays his boss to the point of getting insolent is not a man you can trust. That is why I always told anybody who trusted William Samoei Arap Ruto, you are either stupid or unwise. Because even if me and my boss were on the wrong terms, if I were to come out publicly and call him names, then I am wrong. Because I should at least be able to hide our dirty linen from the public and stand out distinctly without having to punch these guys right on the throat. So when William Samoei Arap Ruto started punching his boss, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, in the throat, anybody who has a brain was able to see that something was awfully wrong. And it happened in the same manner with Rigathi Gachagua. He betrayed Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was his boss. He was actually a personal assistant. So it means that they were very close. But Rigathi Gachagua betrayed Uhuru and went all out to mudsling him, calling him all sorts of names, dynasty, nini wale watu. To the point, it came to the point that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta had just had enough, and he was like, my friends, we're no longer friends. I don't care about you. Don't call me. Don't tell me shit. I don't like you. Let's also keep it at you don't like me. And that is why Rigathi Gachagua has been making all these calls to the former president Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, and Uhuru is just silent. Although there are still stories that, they have been in talks, they have been in up and about, they have been talking or something. But if anybody trusts Rigathi Gachagua, that person is either a fool or they have been fooled. You are either a fool if you trust Rigathi Gachagua, or you have been fooled. There are no two ways about it. Remember last year when we were saying the same things about those who were trusting William Samoei Arap Ruto. We were saying they were either fools or they were being fooled. All sorts of information was shared. We were told all kinds of craze. But today, we stand vindicated that he should not have been trusted with anything. So when I say that Rigathi Gachagua should not be trusted, it comes from 2 points. Number one, he has betrayed his boss severally. And now they are already out with the person they promised the public that they will never, ever, ever part ways with. Why then are they fighting publicly? They made a promise that between him and William Samoei Arap Ruto, they are not going to ever experience what was experienced between Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and William Samoei Arap Ruto. And yet we can see that it is already at play. So the question becomes, why then should we trust any of them? The other issue is that Rigathi Gachagua has not shown any commitment that he has any good interest for the people. Although yes, he is coming out and talking about all this, all that, but the front we should be seeing him working very hard on is on the finance bill. He should be telling him MPs, no, this finance bill has a problem, you are going to draft it again, and I'm going to be sitting the president down and telling him we need to redraft this finance bill so that it includes the one man, one shilling, one vote narrative, so that if it goes to parliament, it has that narrative. But what is he doing? He's not doing that. He's not telling Kimani Kuria not to vote for the bill. In fact, from all points of view, he's all for the bill. But he has some narrative to keep people thinking that he's their savior. And there's a video I once made that talks about how Kenya has always been politically manipulated to keep people hopeful while doing exactly nothing to bring these hopes into substantiality. Like there's really no substantiation for all the hope that Kenyans have had since we got our independence. We've always been hopeful that something better, someone better is coming, but we've never seen someone better. Okay, we can say that we have had better leaders than others, but really, in the sense of economic freedom, we've never really seen somebody. And I know that some pundits think, when you say that, what about Mwai Kibaki? We will one day make an analysis on Mwai Kibaki and we will see whether he really was a good example of economic freedom for the Republic. But until then, well, let's continue talking about Rigathi and the mountain. So the question becomes, where should the mountain go? Should we hear people like Muigai Njoroge, Kina Mutahi Kahiga, Kina Rigiji, who are talking about let's stand united behind Rigiji? My answer is no. We cannot trust any of them. And any man who pushes those fellas and that narrative should not be trusted. So then the question becomes, who should the mountain give the totems of power to? Remember, according to the Limuru 3, the totems are still in the hands of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So this should be a warning to Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Don't dare think that you should give those totems of power to Rigathi Gachagua. I know as a father, sometimes you look at your children and you like, the Kikuyu people are my people. You look at them and you like, which is the best person to leave this? I know they have already started anointing this person. There's already a story of this person is the best person to lead. But be like King David. The people had already anointed Absalom. Or is it which guy had already been anointed by the high priest and Kina Job, and even one of the prophets? They had already anointed a king. But when David looked at his children, he was like, no, this is not the right guy. And so he looked and realized that Solomon was way much better. Although he was younger, he was not as much in stature and standing like some of the rest of his brothers. But when David looked at him, he saw that this was going to be a better leader for his people. So I will not say who to give, but I will tell you who not to give to. You cannot give it to anybody currently in the political limelight. Not Martha Karua. Martha Karua has already been embarrassed. So we can't give it to a woman, number one, because again, this is the mountain we are talking about, and this is Africa. We are not in Europe. And those people are going to come saying, oh, you are against women. Please zip it. We can't give it to Mother, we can't give it to Kioni, we can't give it to Peter Kenneth. Peter Kenneth should not even be allowed. Even the thought of him being given that should not be made. Why? Because he's already a coward. He's just like one guy we call Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Kalonzo has had so many chances to make the right moves and become a king, but he is very comfortable eating scraps that you should not. So who should you give to? Not anybody who is currently in the limelight. Just like Solomon was not among those at the forefront of chasing the throne, just like David himself was not among those that Samuel, on looking at them, at the children of Jesse, was somebody you will think like, this is the Lord's chosen. Majority of the people currently on the limelight are not the right people to hand it over to. And this is because, number one, we want some freshness. What we lack currently is vigor. We don't have much hope in anybody we see, because we know that all they do is push narratives, and then they end up betraying us. Look at those who support Raila Amolo Odinga. Amolo Odinga has been pushing narratives, and betraying his people over and over again. We don't want somebody who can do that. And anybody who is currently in the political limelight should not be trusted with such artifacts of power. So the mountain needs to sit down and rethink its children and its potential leaders. So if Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was to decide to sit down and say, let me just prop up Jeremiah Kioni, my friends, the mountain is going to disappoint you. We love you and we have always liked you. But currently we are looking for something more vigorous. So if anybody is currently in leadership or in a position of power in the mountain, what you should be thinking is, who is currently not in power, whom I can invest in. Because if you invest in the Kenya Kwanza Brigade and Kina Ndindi Nyoro and Kimani Ichung'wah and the Martha Karua team, my friend, you are all going to be disappointed. Take it or leave it. And the problem is going to come when it comes to voting. Some people are still confused, they don't know where they are. But the day it comes to voting, people like Kimani Ichung'wah are going to be shocked. So if Uhuru was to decide to or rather the Limuru 3 brigaders to choose one among their own, they should know that they might face more resistance than is necessary. And those pushing Rigathi Gachagua should know that Rigathi Gachagua is unacceptable as a leader. His character is not really acceptable. Not because he is a villager. I love that thing about him, the genuineness. I am who I am. I don't care what you say. I like those vibes about him. By the way, that I like about him. But in such a position of power, we don't want someone like him, someone who thinks like him, someone who has already shown us that he doesn't have our interests. We don't care where you come from, but do you have our interests? Can you prove that you have our interests at heart? That is what we lack in that man. He doesn't have our interests, and that is the only thing I have against him. So what we need is somebody new. And those people in the mountain who are the kingmakers should start thinking of who next. And who next in those frames of who has potential to sell to people, but is currently not in the limelight. Why? Because anybody who is currently in the limelight but anyway, let's wait and see what happens. We still have a lot of time before 2027 comes knocking and politics starts its whole drama. Currently, we are just in political noise and planning phases. But the mountain should start planning of bringing up somebody new, somebody who has not been in light, and that person can very easily sell even countrywide into all regions, because all regions are actually disappointed in this government. Even the Kales in the Kalenjin land. So yes, there's still a lot of tribal supports for various tribal leaders and tribal factions. But if somebody else comes up who is able to sell in the nation, there are so many people who are ready to support such kind of a narrative. So the question becomes who that should be. Who that should be. So again, and as always, this is Kenyan Opinion TV. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And tell us your opinions about our opinions. And I hope to see you right around. Kwaheri.